Hello, I'm Reema Chandra and welcome to Cooking Without Boundaries. Welcome to my kitchen and let's get started. Today we'll be cooking three dishes. One is 5-spiced red lentils garnished with scallions and roasted cumin powder. The second one that we will be cooking would be cumin-scented dill rice garnished with finely chopped red peppers. And the third one, which is we cannot do without, would be the chicken dish, and that would be called cumin-scented chicken with celery. So before we get into talking about ingredients for these dishes, I would love to talk about 5 essential spices that we must have in our pantry in order to feel the freedom to cook without boundaries. So 5 essential spices, in my opinions, are, actually let's start with black pepper, the spice that began the whole spice history in this world, the most popular, the most used, and one of the first spices that we found to use in our food is the black pepper. It's undisputed king of spices. European, American, Asian, wherever you go, you will find black pepper and white pepper as well. The second spice that I wanted to mention here is the coriander. Coriander are these dried seeds of cilantro plant, and they have actually a nutty flavor, particularly when you toast it a little bit on open flame. It releases aroma which is really gets your appetite going. The third one that I have here is cumin. Cumin looks like caraway seeds, but it does not taste like it, and it has many medicinal and health benefits, as well as preservative, and it is used as preservatives also sometimes. Greeks and Romans in ancient world, they actually used this as sprinkler on their food. So that was one use for cumin. The fourth one that I have here is turmeric. And turmeric, of course, you can see the vibrant color of it, and it's fabulous. It has, other than the color that it gives to food, it also has many health benefits like antiseptic and preservative, and many others. And the last one that I want to talk about, which by far people feel that this is what gives the heat, and they're not wrong. This is the red chilies, dried red chilies, and they actually do give heat to the food. I have talked about different kinds of peppers at great lengths in other episodes, but today I'm just going to show you these dried red chilies that we're going to be, we should have in our pantry. Out of these 5 spices, I'm going to use cumin as today's featured spice, and cumin is going to be used in all 3 dishes that we are going to cook. Cumin scented rice, obviously it has cumin. Cumin scented chicken has cumin, and 5-spiced red lentils also has cumins. So let's get started with 5-spiced red lentils with scallions and roasted cumin powder. When I'm going to cook any of these dishes, what is cooking without boundaries here? Red lentils can be found in your corner grocery stores. Each of these spices can also be found in your grocery store, scallions also. So you don't have to necessarily go to an exotic food place in order to prepare your dish. Also, it is important to come out of our own comfort zone and say, what else can I do with this red lentils, or what else can I do with the scallions? Let's try this recipe, maybe it'll work. So that's what I'm going to show you, how easy it is to make red lentils with using these various ingredients that you can easily find in your corner grocery store or in your pantry or in your refrigerator. Let me show you the red lentils. This is red lentils, and I have a measured amount of 1 cup of red lentils, which is, this is how much it looks. Of course, when it cooks, it is much more quantity than just this much. And you need 4 cups of water to make 1 cup of red lentils. And this is where I cooked the red lentils here for about 15 to 18 minutes. And it has nothing but just 4 cups of water and 1 cup of red lentils simmering on low flame for about 15 to 18 minutes, and this is the end result of that. We are now going to spice it with 5 different spices, garnish it, season it, and enjoy it. So let's get started with the spices. We will use 1 tablespoon of oil, cooking oil. I use canola oil. You can use any oil that you like, olive oil, corn oil, canola oil, or a blend of it all of it works fine. We will use half a teaspoon of each of these spices. So half a teaspoon of coriander seeds, half a teaspoon of cumin seeds, 1 dried red chili, 1/4 of black pepper, so just 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and half a teaspoon of turmeric powder. And we are going to stir it. Our flame should be low at this point because the spices can burn. After you have heated the pan, lower the flame and then put these spices in. And as you can see, that because of turmeric being in there, the color has turned to somewhat rust red color, because that's what turmeric looks like once cooked in direct oil. And I'm going to pour the red lentils that was cooked in a separate pan and stir it well. Mix it all together. As you can see, the red lentils that was looking red when it was raw, almost white when it was cooked in water, and now it is taking a yellow, light yellow color because we have added the turmeric. We haven't added salt yet, and we are going to use 1 teaspoon of salt for 1 cup of red lentils. Looks good. It's almost ready. I think I have mixed the spices in lentils very well. We will let it simmer on low flame for another minute, and we'll come back to check on seasoning and then garnish it before serving. So the 5 spiced red lentils is ready for us to enjoy. I have just transferred it to a serving bowl, and I would garnish it with freshly powdered cumin, which was roasted earlier, and I actually just sauteed some dried cumin in a dry pan over the stove, and just in a in a mortar and pestle, I just crushed it lightly, so it's ready to go as garnishing. And I'm going to use 1/4 teaspoon of it to garnish the lentils, and top it with about a tablespoon of scallions. You can use more scallions if you want to, but this is our 5-spiced red lentils garnished with scallions and roasted cumin powder. So the next dish that we are going to enjoy making is a rice dish. It's called cumin scented dill rice garnished with finely chopped red peppers. We start with rice. This is just, you can use cooked white rice or cooked brown rice. I have white rice here, and I measured 1 cup, and I cooked on stove in 2 cups of water. I let it simmer on low flame for about 15 minutes with lid half covered, not fully covered. And then I'll check it from time to time whether it is cooking or not. When the water was almost evaporated, I turned the stove off and I closed the lid tight and I let it sit. Whatever rest was left to be cooked in the rice, it cooked with its own steam. So you don't need to add any more water. So this is cooked rice that I have here. 1 cup of cooked white rice I have. You can also use brown rice. I often do that. But we're going to start with 1 tablespoon of cooking oil again. And this time, 1 tablespoon of cooking oil went in there. We are going to, once this is, I had the pan heating for about 5 minutes or so on low flame. It's completely hot. So I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of roasted, roasted cumin powder. So, and you saw that I had roasted it earlier. So I'm going to add that to the pan, roasted cumin powder, half a teaspoon of that. Take a spatula, stir it, and as soon as you hear that sizzling sound, add chopped dill. This is very finely chopped dill, about a 1/4 cup of it, and I'll put it in and then stir it quickly so that it doesn't burn in one spot. And I will now add 1 red chili. It just flavors the oil. It does not really put in any heat if it is not broken and if the seeds are not out. So you don't have to worry about this rice dish being spicy because it's just bringing in flavor, no heat here. So I'm going to add all of the 1 cup cooked rice. The cup measurement is with the raw rice. After it is cooked, it will measure to be more than 1 cup. So when I say 1 cup rice, it's actually raw rice, 1 cup of raw rice. And I will stir in the dill, roasted cumin powder, and the red pepper. Everything together here. Looks very good, smells wonderful. I wish you were here with me in my kitchen. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to use a different spatula for that actually. How about a straight edge spatula? It's easier to turn with this. Looks very good, and actually believe it or not, dill we use here in Western cooking so much. It is one of the oldest herbs used in Indian cuisine as well. In southern India particularly, they use in all different kinds of dishes. Our rice looks ready. I'll let it stay on stove for another maybe half a minute, and then transfer it to a serving bowl, garnish it with red bell peppers, and then serve it. Our final dish is cumin scented chicken with celery. And what I have done here is cut up some boneless chicken pieces into small thin pieces. If I have talked about it before also, that if you don't have time to marinate your meat, basically marination breaks the protein in the meat and it makes it tender while cooking. But if you didn't have time to do that, you should cut it thin and small, so that while cooking then it soaks juices from the spices and other ingredients. So this is how thin pieces should look, and this is how small, there is no machine cut here, so some pieces are a little bit bigger than others, but more or less they are small, thin pieces. So I have a pound of chicken, and we are going to be making cumin scented chicken with celery. So let's get started. As I had mentioned earlier, that cumin would be our featured spice in all three dishes, and we will be using cumin, whether raw or roasted, in one shape or another in each of the dishes. So this one has both kinds of cumin, seeds, raw seeds, as well as roasted powder. What I have done here is taken 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 dry red chili, and pounded them together just lightly. The pan is warm here, and I'm going to, while I was preparing other things, I had the pan going on low flame for about 5 minutes, so now it is ready to go. I will add about 3 tablespoons of cooking oil. Also, while I'm making this, I'm thinking and hoping that you will also use non-stick cooking pan or some sort of seasoned pan which doesn't take a whole lot of oil, because if it is a non-seasoned pan or non-stick pan, then you might end up using a little more oil than recommended. I'm going to add 1 cup of chopped onion, and let's just start that. Two tablespoons of chopped ginger. In this dish, I love this dish because it's one of those where I don't have to prepare anything from ahead of time. I just chop and pound everything when I'm ready to make this dish. It's no blender needed, no preparation ahead of time needed. So chopped 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic, and stir it. We'll saute it for maybe 2 more minutes and on low flame. So as you can see, I will increase the flame a little bit to low. It was very low back then. So it looks like onion is ready, and we can add the pounded spices now. Smells wonderful. And let's do that directly from the pounder here and stir it nicely, and it's going to release aroma. I wish you were here with me to smell it, taste it, but now you know how easy it is to make it. So let's add chicken pieces to the pan and lower the flame a little bit to low. And let's just stir in. Smells wonderful. We are going to be cooking the chicken pieces now in the spices. So chicken is going to soak in aroma and flavor of spices. We're also going to add salt now. For a pound of chicken, I would use about a teaspoon, maybe a spoon and a half, 1.5 teaspoon. But you should always add less in the beginning and then go back to taste it later to adjust the seasoning, because if it is too much, then you have another problem at hand. So let's go light on salt to begin with. We're going to cover this chicken and let it cook for about 12 to 15 minutes, and we'll stir it once every 5 minutes to make sure that chicken is not getting burnt at the bottom, and we'll come back to it in a little bit. So the chicken looks almost ready to take in next ingredient. So it's time for the celery to go in now. I added a cup of chopped celery, and I know about celery that they're very healthy. They give you a crunchy taste in your mouth, and it adds green to your chicken. We will also at this point add a teaspoon of roasted cumin powder that we pounded earlier. And actually half teaspoon of sugar. And why am I adding sugar? Do I want to make it sweet? No. I want to balance the salt in it, and that's why I'm adding half a teaspoon of sugar, so that it balances all of the other spices in it. Smells wonderful. We are going to now add 3 tablespoons of sour cream. The reason for sour cream in here is it smoothens the mixture of spices and sticks to the chicken. So you have, when you're putting a chicken piece in your mouth, you have actually spices in your mouth as well, and that makes it complete. Looks very good. Looks wonderful. I'm going to leave it on very low flame to simmer for another minute with the lid on it. Cumin scented chicken with celery. Looks fabulous, smells wonderful, and it tastes great. I'm sure you'll be making it in your kitchen. So we cooked 3 dishes today. We cooked 5 spiced red lentils garnished with scallions and roasted cumin powder. We cooked cumin scented dill rice garnished with chopped red bell peppers, and then we made our cumin scented chicken with celery. As you can see, cumin is actually the featured spice here, running through all 3 dishes. We took cumin, we took celery, we took bell pepper, we took dill, we took lentils, we took scallions, we took chicken. All these different ingredients you can find in your own grocery store. You don't have to go for miles to an exotic grocery store to make this. You put together these ingredients into a delicious, healthy, gourmet style meal for your family. You came out of your boundaries, and that's what I call cooking without boundaries. See you next time. I'm back with a very helpful tip for you from my kitchen to yours. What I have found the pots and pans to be working in best condition is I do not put them in dishwasher. So my non-stick or the all-clad kind of pots, I always hand wash them, and I use proper spatulas for them. So a metal one for metal or wood or plastic, but for non-stick I would only use plastic or wood or silicone. So please keep that in mind. Any other hints, tips you would like to share with me or ask me, write to me at reema@sharontv.com. See you next time.